What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering r/IDoWorkHereLady. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell if you enjoy the content, of course. And let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story is from Allfather Flex. I do work here, and you need to go. Obligatory mobile warning. I work at a place that does nighttime events during the weekends, where we sell beer and have food, not a restaurant, all outdoor. We are family friendly, and due to the type of licensing we have, we are only allowed to sell beer and no other alcohol. At the time, my job was to walk around and make sure that nobody was sneaking in outside drinks, as we'll occasionally get secret shoppers, make sure that we are following codes. One night while we're making rounds, I spotted a group with clear plastic cups and a bottle of wine, which we don't serve. I politely informed them that they need to dump their cups and put the bottle away, and I will not make them leave as long as I don't see it again, to which they responded by saying that the bartender sold them that bottle of wine. I informed them that this would not happen because if wine were to be sold, we would cease to be family friendly and not be able to allow children to come and be part of our neighbourhood events. After I say this, they admit that they brought it in and they are good friends with the owner, and he said it was okay to do. They've done it before. And that I can ask any worker that was around that they were allowed. I kind of realised that they thought I was just another patron because we don't have any uniforms or name tags, so I tell them that I'm an employee and have been given authority to kick people who aren't compliant with our rules out and hand them a ban as well, and that I was going to get their friend the owner over to explain further if they misunderstood. They made me annoyed because they tried to get away with it and possibly get us shut down, so I dropped the leniency and had them leave. The next day I was on shift in the morning for my normal duties when one of the group members arrives. He sees me working and rudely asks for my manager, and then tells me he's going to get his ban lifted. I am a manager, though a different section of the business, but still with some authority over these matters, and I tell him so. He drops a smirk and then says he'd like to talk to the owner then, so I suggest he call him since they are such close friends. He stormed off in a huff and has not returned since. All they had to do was put the damn drink away and go and buy a beer. Is it that difficult? I mean, I know people try to sneak drinks into places if they're overly expensive and stuff, but because it's a family run place and licensing and stuff, you can totally understand where they're coming from, you know? Oh, wow. How would you deal with these people in the situation? Would you let it slide? Would you let them keep their bottle of wine and enjoy it and finish it off? Or would you tell them, no, put it away because you're putting the event at risk kind of thing? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear it. Our next story is from Dashes to Dashes. Working as an intern, got mistaken for a client and treated like a child. This is kind of a short story, but I think it's worth sharing and it always cracks me up. My last semester of college, I did an internship as part of my special education degree. The organisation I was working for was what's called a sheltered workshop, essentially a place for companies to send product to be processed by people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, etc., at a reduced wage. I actually spent the entire semester researching sheltered workshops and the practice of sub-minimum wage, so it felt like undercover journalism most of the time. The employees, or clients, are monitored and supported by a large staff of barely trained, non-disabled employees. I have chronic pain and fatigue, which means that I need to use mobility aids to get around. I alternated between a rolling walker and a manual wheelchair for most of the time there. I was the only non-client with a disability. I also wore a lanyard with my badge on it, which had my name and intern university name in big letters. Now sometimes my lanyard would get turned around so the front couldn't be seen. On many occasions I would be doing work on my computer or notebook while sitting in the common area, and one of the non-disabled employees would strike up a conversation either with me or with a group including me. Without fail, they would always address me with the same tone and manner they addressed the clients, while speaking perfectly normal to everyone else around. My personal favourite way of handling that was when they pulled the sugar sweet, "And who are you?" "Oh hi, I'm name, the intern from this university. So nice to meet you. I'm really learning a lot from this experience." The look on their face as it dawns on them that I'm actually articulate, college educated person still makes me laugh to this day. It's like you could see the gears turn and the foot get shoved in their mouth. Lesson to be learned: don't treat disabled people like children, and never assume someone using a wheelchair is by default also intellectually disabled. Damn, I've never heard of like those sheltered workshops before. I'm sort of in my head right now, like I'm just firing this out there. Is that morally right to like be paying someone below minimum wage because they have a intellectual disability or developmental disabilities? Is that the right thing to do? That doesn't quite sit quite right with me. What are your thoughts on that? I would love to know below because my mind is just a bit all over the place with that one. Our next story is from FreeSki919. I do work here and your vacation is over. Quite a few years ago, I worked as a ski school supervisor at a mountain resort. One day early in the season, it's slow, so I decided to take a run with one of my co-workers. Since I've been on my skis a lot, I opt to grab my snowboard for this particular jaunt. This is important later. So me and my buddy are out and about for a couple of runs, and it's time to head back in to check for lessons. We're down off the main mountain, and just cruising along a green, easy run that leads back to the base area. Like I said, it's a slow day, so there's nobody around, or so I think. I'm making regular smooth turns on my board when out of nowhere I hear a woman from behind me screech, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" Before I even flinch, I feel something hit the tail of my board. I get spun around and go down kind of hard. For a moment, the red rage light blinks in my head, but I think, okay, we're in a beginner area, she might not have had control, it was an accident, be cool. I pull myself up off the snow and calm myself down. I look down the hill and there are two Karens standing about 50 yards downhill. Obviously one of them was the one that hit me. Cool. They stopped to make sure I was okay and apologise. I slide down to them and open my mouth to check if they're okay. Before I can even get one word out of my mouth, Karen 1 starts screaming at me. "What the fuck do you think you're doing? You could have killed me! You fucking snowboarders are a menace. You don't belong on the mountain." And on it goes, screaming at me, cursing at me, calling me all sorts of names. One important note, there are a set of rules that govern skiing, and one of them is that skiers and riders ahead of you have the right of way. Just like driving, if you hit someone from behind while you're skiing, you're 100% at fault. I tried to interrupt politely to tell her this, but Karen is having none of it. At this point I'm thinking, okay, fuck you Karen, I'm tearing you a new arsehole once you're finished yelling. I look over at my buddy for backup, and suddenly my rage-filled brain realises something. My buddy is in full uniform. I look down, black pants, blue and grey jacket with a resort logo on front and back, bright shiny gold name tag that says supervisor under my name, and a radio mic clipped to my collar. Yeah, I'm in full uniform too. At this point I'm dumbfounded. Is this woman seriously screaming and cursing at two mountain employees after she just caused a crash? What? Then I get calm and I hold out my hand for her to stop. I have no idea why, but Karen stopped screaming. I reach up to the radio mic and call ski patrol. I asked them to have the patrol director on duty to meet me at the base area. So at this point that it finally dawns on Karen that she fucked up. She starts asking why I called patrol and what I'm going to do. I just shrug. She starts saying she doesn't want me following her and to leave her alone. Again, we're almost in sight of the base. There's nowhere else to go other than to follow this trail down. She realises she's stuck and skis down with her friend. Her friend at this point looks mortified, by the way. We get to the base and the patrol director is standing there with another patroller. I give a recap of the event, including some graphic things she told me to do to myself and multiple family members. The patrol director rolls his eyes, then pulls out wire cutters. Karen goes wide-eyed and is like, "No, you can't take my ticket. It's a 5-day ticket. We just got here. This is our vacation." Tickets are like $75 per day. So we're talking like a $350 ticket this lady was on. The patrol director just shrugs and says, "Well ma'am, you just made a very expensive mistake," and then clips the ticket. At that point, my co-worker and I beat a retreat back to the ski school because we want no part of the fallout. Oh, some sweet revenge in there too. Absolutely love that. What I love to picture in my head at these sort of situations is the Karen's face going from completely angry and smirky and just a shitty Karen face like shouting at you, and it's suddenly changing as it's dawning, you know, as it's dawning that she's fucked up and she's about to get in big trouble. Oh, it just brings me pleasure. What do you guys think of that story? I'd love to know in the comments below. Have you ever met a Karen at a ski resort before? I'm sure there's got to be a few of them out there. Our next story is from Squiddy9001. I look too young to work at a clinic. Context, I was 19 and the only reason I got a job here was because my uncle owned the company. Family business. I worked as an assistant to my mum who worked as the manager. Sort of, she worked as a face to the company as she would have many treatments. It was a beauty place like Botox and facelifts. I would help with the financial side and I was good at budgeting. A-level economics. So more often than not I would work with my uncle ordering machines and calculating pros and cons of buying machinery. I have a few stories of my time as an assistant, but this one is my favourite. We tried to do some marketing, so we got a model and an Instagram star and gave them free treatments. The model was cool to deal with, while the Instagram star was the worst. She acted like she owned the place. Worst of all, she demanded free treatments for all her friends and herself forever. We obviously refused, and she threatened us and said, "You're condoning child labour with that young boy." We all laughed our heads off. I said, "First, I get paid. Next, our deal is over, so you have no right to be here without an appointment." She stuttered, "You can't do anything about it though." My uncle comes over to see what the commotion was, and was just like, "Get out or I'll call the police for trespassing and offending staff," and anticlimactically, she leaves. No drama. I'm not sure if this has been going on for like a huge long while, but more and more so I'm finding like, I don't know if it's just reading these stories that influencers using their sort of backing to get free stuff all the time. I know it's been going on for a little while, but I seem to be noticing it more and more these days. I wonder if I can get me some free Botox. Come out looking like Mickey Rourke. Oh dear. As always, I'd love to know your thoughts on that story. And with that being said, if you did enjoy this content, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell. And I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys. Take care now.